Our topic today is manifestation. We've spent several episodes exploring the power of language, intention, and beliefs that you can use to work your manifestation magic. Today, we are pulling it all together. Stick with us until the end of the video to get a rundown of how to manifest your dreams and goals. There will be a message from Mother Earth, also known as Gaia, as channeled by Susy.
Hey, Mystics. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. I'm Kai Bertrand.
I'm Lisa Stewart.
And I'm Susie Parker Goins. Welcome to the Mystic Mosaic Podcast. We're here to help clarify, illuminate, normalize, and encourage you as you develop your gifts so you can confidently build a sustainable lifestyle for you, your family, and even your career.
We're providing information to use as a launching point for your own spiritual journey. We are not doctors, and we won't be giving any medical advice. Plus, we're not doing free readings. Information provided here is for educational purposes only. So let's start the conversation.
All right, here we go. Manifestation. What is it? The word manifestation means to create something or turn something from an idea into a reality. It's the result of directed intention/energy. The first records of the term manifest comes from the Latin manifestus, meaning detected in the act, evident or visible. So what do you consider when you're working on realizing your dream? The first thing to think about is, why do you want it? Is it important or superficial? Is this to make a life change or stave off something temporary? Consider the consequences of the results. Like lottery winners who don't think about what happens after they're going to win the money and what ultimately ends up happening to them. That's kind of an extreme example, but it's still something that you need to think about. So when you work on your manifestation, these are important questions to ask yourself before you start the process of manifestation, because once you go big, it's the results can be just as big. So you really want to think about that.
Yeah,
So Lisa, you had a story about that, right?
I do. I have two mantras for manifesting. One is to be clear, concise, and consistent. And the next one is to be able to see, feel, and believe. Let me share what this looks like in my first story. This is when I learned I wanted to become a designer. When I was 7 years old, my mother returned home from shopping. She revealed a set of bed linens with a designer's name attached. I asked why a person's name was affixed on the label. She explained that they were designer sheets and then continued describing what it means to license one work. And when that happens, designers get to receive a check in the mail. I want that. I want to become a designer and receive checks in the mail. I mean, what 7-year-old wouldn't want that, right? The point of this is to see, feel, and believe. I took all the art classes to learn that skill. I tested my technique and aptitude by submitting my work to competitions. Even if my narcissistic mother was going to try to erode my self-esteem in that area, I could at least get outside confirmation of my talent through competitions and, getting instructors' advice and things like that. I also enrolled in design school and majored in both graphic design and fine art, along with music. I eat, breathe, and live art and design. So here's my tip. If you aspire to become someone, think about the steps that you need to take to move forward towards that goal. If being an artist is important to you, start creating. That's it. Soon enough, people are going to refer to you as their artist friend. If you want to upgrade your skill, watch a video on YouTube or take a class. If you aspire to become a writer, start writing. As soon as you write your first sentence with the intention of becoming a writer, you're now a writer. That's it. That's how easy it is to embrace an aspiration and become.
So, next up, speaking of writing, what a lovely segue. Let's look at language. We did a big episode about the power of language, and we want to re-emphasize how important that word choice can be when thinking about what you want to do to change your world. So you want to choose words that are positive, uplifting, and empowering. No can'ts in here or oughts or shoulds. but you're going to avoid those words that show doubt or indecisiveness or, some sort of limitation. Please don't use words that are not in alignment with your highest good. Oh, an example with that. What would that be? Say you're going, I don't know. What's not in alignment? What are words that are not in alignment? I didn't think that one through.
Well, I think that that would be words that you are, um, words that you, again, like that indecisiveness, or words that are, um, in terms of, I want this in spite of whatever. You
Mhm.
know what I mean?
Okay.
Mhm.
Or,
Yeah.
like, I want this because I don't want that person to have it, kind of verbiage. Like, you don't want any of that stuff.
Okay.
Like, you want the stuff that is just about my highest good. What, what is, there's a thought that it's like, what is mine is always mine and cannot be taken from me. So
Right.
it's that kind of mentality where you use words like that it's like, bring me what is mine. Like,
Mhm.
I don't want what is someone else's, bring me what is for me.
Mhm.
Right. And the word want in and of itself is not in alignment. That indicates a feeling of lack. I
Mhm.
want this,
Mhm.
or I need this. I
Yeah.
had an instance where I was trying to save. I'm going to scrimp and save, and the energy was really um, constricted, constrained. And so you want to use language that is big. It's expansive. That's the word there. Lisa, did you want to chime in?
Yeah, I was just going to say about the word want, right? When you talk about how it might be coming from a place of lack, that might be true, as well as you may also be stuck in the container of wanting. So be
Mhm.
careful. Don't use I want to become. It's like I am becoming. That way, then it just kind of jumps right over into what is.
I am is a really important phrase to use. I am in that state. You're putting it in the present
Mhm.
as if you already have it. And we'll cover that in a minute.
Mhm.
Also, skip sarcasm. It just doesn't work. The universe will hear what you said, not how you said it.
Mhm.
It's not that source doesn't have a sense of humor. It does, but you're not going to like that result when you get home. Gee, thanks for that accident. It's like, no, you don't really want that. Come from a true, heartfelt place and
Mhm.
use those words that resonate with that. Those are the best ones. Also, you are looking to choose words that strengthen the people around you. So that bonus phrase is best outcome for all.
Mhm.
So you're not trying to control how it turns out for somebody. You want the best outcome for everybody. Another good bonus phrase is or better.
Right.
I am this, I have this,
Mhm.
or better. And that opens the path to more than you thought than was possible because the universe is unlimited. It's expansive. It has more in mind for you than
Mhm.
you think you may deserve.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted,
What do you deserve, Lisa?
I deserve, oh, I know what I was going to say. Yeah, the highest good for all. I think when we talk about money and we talk about the fact that it's like, I want $1 million, but not at the risk. If my aunt is well endowed, I don't want her to die and me to get it, right? I don't want that outcome. So be very careful when you do start that manifesting process that you aren't taking away from somebody else. So for the highest good of all is a really good mantra to put in practice.
Mhm.
What I wanted to share is the next story about wanting a little love in my life. Having a string of bad relationships, I'm like, okay, this one's going to be different. So what I did is 22 years ago, I adopted a new cat. His name was Earnhardt at the time. And I'm like, that's not going to do. I do not like that name. He was an adorable black cat, and I think he'd already lived 8 lives. And I said, I want a little love in my life because I was also single and looking for a boyfriend. So I decided to call my cat Eros. Of course, he is the Greek god of love, right? So I adopted him and manifested Andrew 2 weeks later. But let me tell the short story about how that happened. I did the work. I didn't wish upon a couch. I created a list of what I did and didn't want in my next relationship. I enrolled in an online dating service. Sure, I endured many horrible dates. Eventually, I received a lovely invitation to coffee by a guy who checked all the boxes. Here's a tip: exercise patience. The universe runs on its own timeline. Spirit may already be showing you signs, but you may have just missed them. Spirit's going to keep trying again and again and again. And also, trial and error. The first attempt is not always rewarded the first time. Always keep testing. Iterating is your friend. So when you're feeling frantic, just stop and breathe. See, feel, and believe.
Okay, so the next step we're going to talk about is intention. And we dedicated an entire episode to this as well. Intention is a blueprint your manifestation needs to create what you want. Make sure you really want what you say you do. Be careful what you wish for again. You just might get it, but not in the form that you expected. So make sure that you really want what you say you want. Set your intention with the highest good in mind. Again, this or something better. Just keep in mind that you don't live in a vacuum. Others around you will be affected by what you create. So add that whatever is created is for the good of all concerned, so that anybody who has anything that will be affected by anything that happens in this manifestation will actually benefit from it in some way. Now, keep in mind, it may be a benefit. It may not seem like a benefit to them, but ultimately it will be, because the universe is way smarter than us and knows exactly what we need. So just trust that that is what the case will be once you put in that caveat. Keep in mind also that if what you're working on is in opposition to another's well-being, it will probably come back on you. You know, that whole law of return, threefold return, all that stuff, like karma coming back, because karma's got a list, and it's not going to be pleasant for you if you start trying to manifest things that, could potentially hurt other people. So don't do that. That is not in your best interest by any stretch of the imagination.
And that's why best outcome is a great adder to all of this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And then of course we want to, reiterate the whole thought about Kuleana, which is responsibility. So as you make your manifestations at the same time, think about the things that you want and you need and you want to create in your life. And if other people are not with that program, so to speak, that's not your responsibility. It's not your responsibility to take care of everybody. It's your responsibility to work on what you need. And if people can get with the program, then fantastic. If they can't, that's not on you. That's not your responsibility. So, just give that some thought when you're moving on towards your next thing for manifestation.
Tell us in the comments section what your thoughts are about this subject. And please share your experiences with us. Thanks.
Thanks, Susie. The next point we want to talk about are thoughts and beliefs. This is what gives your manifestation power. It can also hold you back. So what we would like to share with you is ferret out any beliefs that counteract what you want. If you want money, you may have to replace a belief that says people who have money are evil, or money is the root of all evil, right? So figure out what that belief that you hold near and dear to your heart and try to unravel it, so that way your manifestation for money can come to fruition. The next one is to remove all doubt from your mind. This will prevent what you want from forming. Any slightest doubt, if it doesn't feel right in your heart or in your solar plexus, you've got to rephrase that and remove that doubt that is going to help you then feel better and feel centered about moving forward with manifestation. Be prepared to think about it in the most positive terms, then let it go. You've handed it over to the universe, so let the universe do its job. We talked about that just a minute ago, right? The I am phrase. I am an artist. I am finding a new place to live. I am doing whatever it takes for you to move forward. Again, being clear, concise, and consistent with your mantra and your manifestation phrase is key. And then also define a very clear outcome for you.
The way I defined an outcome that I was able to manifest was, I'm sure we've heard this before, when I had cancer, I got the diagnosis and I determined that I needed to change the end of the story. I needed to survive the cancer. Now, for me, I didn't specify exactly how it was going to look. People have asked me that before. How does this recovery look? It's like, I don't know. So that's where my clarity was not great. But in the moment, I needed to change the end of the story, and tra la la, I have. There are lots of other stories. Lisa's got a story about how she manifested some of her dreams.
Changing the end of the story is also a positive reframe because that enables you to move forward rather than being stuck in that state of misery and victimhood.
Mhm.
So nice job on that, Susy.
Thanks.
When I was 10, I chose the cornet to play in concert band. Cornet is a brass instrument that resembles a trumpet, but it's shorter and it's wider. And often it's got that brass color to it. When I was in high school, I met other students in other schools who played trumpets, Bach Stradivarius trumpets to be exact. The Bach Stradivarius trumpet were the make and model sought after by the most famous musicians. My dad, however, when I asked him, I want a Bach Stradivarius for graduation, my dad said, well, usually graduates get wristwatches as gifts for graduation. I said, no, I want a trumpet. I also knew that my dad didn't have the money to immediately shell out for a trumpet. I needed to make obtaining that trumpet as easy as possible. So I helped close the chasm by shopping. And by shopping, I mean talking with the guys who already own those trumpets and learned how they acquired them. They mentioned a factory in Elkhart, Indiana called the Bach Stradivarius factory, where you could buy direct and pay for a fraction of the cost. So I informed my dad of these options and he said we could budget for it, but I wouldn't be receiving it by graduation. I could wait. I didn't need to receive it during the graduation party. I just knew that I wanted to receive it eventually. So later that fall, he and I went to Elkhart, Indiana. The guy who was our tour guide brought in 3 trumpets into a little it was a soundproof room, and he's like, okay, choose your trumpet. And so I went through the 3 trumpets, played a little ditty, and said, I want the second trumpet. Well, that was another wonderful story about how I was able to not only manifest my trumpet, but think of it as an upgrade because I was already playing the cornet in concert band and a marching band. And to manifest that trumpet was an easy step up or an easy step sideways because I knew what brass felt like in my hands. I knew what putting my lips to the mouthpiece would feel like. I knew how I would feel as I was playing solos in the middle of the marching band field. So when you think about manifesting, also include all the senses that are going to help you see, feel, and believe, knowing that that manifestation is going to be real for you.
You're watching the Mystic Mosaic podcast. Hit the like button and subscribe. Don't forget to click the notification bell to be notified when we upload another video. It helps YouTube share the episode with others who want to learn more about this topic. Let's get back into it.
Yeah, so that's a really interesting point about, looking at it as an upgrade versus having to build something from scratch. Because I think that that's what happens a lot of times with manifestation is that we don't necessarily want something from scratch necessarily. It's like we actually want an upgrade. So if we want we're trying to manifest a new car, it's usually because the car we have is like having some problem. And so we actually don't necessarily, it's not like we don't have a car and we need a car. It's like we need a better car or we need a car that's working better. So that is really an upgrade. And so for even though it seems like a process of mental gymnastics, it's actually very helpful because it's like,
Yeah.
yes, I already have something and now I just want something better.
Mhm.
And so so it's not as big of a gap to
Mhm.
think of it that way. So when you're manifesting for something, if you already have something similar to it, say for instance, if you want a new job, it's like, okay, I have this job, but I want a better job. So it's not like, oh, I'm like, I have no job and I need a job. It's
Mm.
going from, I have a job, I'm grateful for the job I have.
Mm.
Now I just need a better one. And so it's so the jump is not so big. And once you can do that, then you get to the point where when you manifest and you can work that in and understand that it's not really such a big leap for you to create something like that, that it is just an upgrade,
Mhm.
then it's easier for you to trust the source. It's easy for you to trust that spirit is working for your highest and best. And you know, keeping in mind that it's not always going to look like what you think it ought to look like.
Mhm.
So for instance, you might say, yeah, I want a better car. And you, in your mind, you might be thinking it's actually this car when you're actually presented with this car. And when you give yourself a moment to think about it, you're like, well, yeah, actually that works better. Because usually source knows better than we do what we need and what would actually work best for us. So just, so be open to that.
Mhm.
Um, And the other thing that you have to trust or kind of get past is your ego. And your past thought patterns may tell you not to trust. Um, and that's when we need to remember to shift our thought patterns, shift our belief patterns, catch ourselves, and just say, you know what? I'm handing it over to the universe. I need to let it do its thing because it knows better. Spirit knows better, source knows better, whatever you want to call it, because our understanding of energy and the universe is limited, but the power that we're trying to tap into is immense. So just allow it to do its thing. Um, Keep in mind, it's not a straightforward process.
Right.
Tweaking it might be necessary. So you might think, well, yeah, I want a new car, but oh yeah, I forgot I need the car to do this too. I need this particular feature. I really need that, because say for instance, you have a dog, so you need a back part so you can put the fence up, or if you have a kid, I need something that I can fit the car seat into really well, or I'm an artist and I need to be able to flip down my seat so I can throw all my junk at the back, whatever it is. Like you have to think about how you can arrange things and what you really need with that. Um, but the other thing to think about is don't worry about how it will arrive.
Mhm.
The how is not our business. Basically, what you're telling to the universe is, I want, or I have this, the energy of this thing in my life is what I have. I need you to manifest it in my life. How you make that happen, I don't care. Just make it happen. That's really what we're doing. And, or not necessarily make it happen, but thank you for making it happen, because
Exactly.
we do everything with gratitude.
Mhm.
And then you're open about it. And then we always have to, another thing to keep in mind is that the whole concept of timing.
Mm.
Like human timing versus divine timing, not the same thing. Like not even close.
Yes.
Not even close. I mean, because there are times when we might say something and expect it to be like weeks from now, and the universe goes, "Yep, here you go," in like 10 minutes, and we're like, "Oh." And then there are other things that we're like, "Oh, let's go," and the universe is like, "Nope, still waiting." So
Mhm.
you have to be willing to just let things open and let things roll out when it's time.
Yeah.
And then there's other variables to consider. If other people are involved, their work may need to be done too, but keep your focus on what you're doing. Because you can't always, if you're trying to manifest something, even if other people are involved, like sometimes you can't compensate for other people's stuff. So you have to like focus on just what you're doing, what you're trying to manifest, even if it's for them as well. The other thing that we advise you do is when you start to manifest something, especially if you're manifesting something big, keep it to yourself.
Mhm.
This prevents other people from messing with it or you. Because this can reopen old wounds that you have healed in the process. Their emotions can shift the energy, stuff like jealousy, envy, anger, greed, their own stuff can come into play when you tell them what you're trying to manifest. Because they may, say for instance, like you decide that you want to manifest, winning the lottery. And they're like, oh no, I don't want you to win the lottery, because if you win the lottery, that means you're not going to give me any money, or you're going to move away, or any number of things that would then be how they perceive it. So
Mhm.
then that energy of they're trying to block you goes, after the energy that you're putting out towards manifestation. So if you're trying to manifesting something big, whether it be a house, a car, a trip, whatever it is,
Mhm.
tell no one if
Right.
you can.
Yeah.
And then that way it removes all other people's influence of their feelings, their thoughts, their beliefs,
Mhm.
any other things that might counteract your visualizations, and your stuff that you're doing. So yeah, just keep that to yourself.
Yeah. No, those are great tips, Kai, both spoken and unspoken. So here's something interesting. After I met Andrew and my life was starting to get settled, right? I was starting to feel really good about where my life was headed. And I was probably in my mid 30s at this time. I remember one May morning standing in his dining room and I said, you know what? I want to capitalize on my art degree. I want to create a series of fine art pieces that are going to become classic and stand the test of time. I made this announcement out loud in his dining room to him. It was kind of like to the universe. This is what I want. Now, I know we just talked about wanting, but let me go through this a sec. The following December, while watching a movie with the new in-laws, I captured the essence of my trademark line called Calligraphy Pets. It's a pen and brush gestures of cats and dogs. For years, we all have appreciated classical flourishes of calligraphy and how our persistent love of cats and dogs is timeless and indelible. Mixing the two, like chocolate and peanut butter, became an enduring combination. The illustrations that I had created became instant hits among pet lovers. They became award winners. They sold around the world, as well as being picked up by museum mail order catalogs. So back in May, when I announced to the universe that I wanted to create classical art series, I wasn't concerned about the how. I wasn't concerned about what style of art it was going to be, or what medium I was going to use, or even the subject matter. I was completely open to come what may. The universe complied, and I finally received the memo in December. That's not to say the universe didn't try before December, just means I was a little open. So here's what happened. The night we sat down to watch a movie, my in-laws were in for the holidays. My mother-in-law was knitting and she needed the lights on low. My 8-month adorable tabby cat, Bacchus, dashed across the floor to attack the ball of yarn that dropped beside her. Well, back in the early aughts, we had a big television that sat on the floor. I think you guys remember what those looked like. They were huge, they were monstrous, really tough to move. Well, the light from the TV from the movie actually had a nice soft glow on the Berber carpet. Well, when Bacchus ran across the floor to grab that ball of yarn, a single highlight shone on his back. Because I love gesture drawing and I love calligraphy, suddenly the two just hit like peanut butter and chocolate. I'm like, guys, hold on a sec. Can you pause the TV? I need to get my sketchbook. Andrew's like, yeah, sure. So I'm climbing over my new father-in-law, who is as big and as gentle as Hagrid. And he's like, oh, gotta move. And I'm like, my sketchbook's over there. Climbing over him, get the sketchbook, come back to the seat next to Andrew, and I start drawing. Andrew and I both watch these drawings come alive as I lay the graphite on the page with the curves and the swirls. I had something. We both knew it, and I got full body goosebumps. This was the first time I can recall co-creating with spirit, and I just didn't know it. So here's my tip for you. Do what you love. Write what you know, paint what you see. When you stay within the parameters of what you know and what you love, you really don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just restyle it. And here's a second tip, which I love to give, and that is you only have 37 seconds to capture your idea. So when you get that flash of inspiration, Put it down in your notebook immediately. Recite it in your phone. If you can't get to either one of those within 37 seconds, start talking about it out loud. Walk through the apartment till you can find that thing you can write it down on. If you don't have anything immediately, if you've got somebody in the room with you, say, I just had this inspiration about building a boat that's got wheels. Please help me remember until I can get to that thing to write it down. Because it is amazing what 37 seconds of inspiration can provide you. So always keep that in mind. So wanted to share. Okay. Now let's go on to the feelings and visualizations of manifestation. This is fun because this gives you added power to your manifestation. They serve as reminders and anchors you in the reality that you're striving to create. So you want to ask yourself, how do you want to feel when you acquire or achieve that thing or status? So if you want to acquire a car, right? How do you want to feel when you acquire that car? Do you want to feel like you can shove more crap in the back of it because you're an artist, or you can open the gate more easily because you've got a dog and maybe your dog is elderly and you know your dog needs help getting up into the back of the car? So that feeling of ease, right? That's going to bring forward that manifestation. So think about those feelings, about how you want to embody all of those senses when you have acquired that thing, or when you've up-leveled your skills to get a new job, or get a promotion, things like that. So see, feel, and believe are the three mandates that I would recommend you concentrate on, but then also pull in taste and hearing. Whenever possible, try to connect all of those sensory. What's the word I'm looking for, ladies?
Components.
Components. Thank you. Think about connecting all those sensory components. And even if taste isn't part of that component, you can pull in lemon or maybe even sweet chocolate to help anchor. It's kind of like Pavlov's dog and the bell, right? Use some kind of unique taste component that can help anchor you into that sensation. So that way you can move forward with that manifestation.
Yeah, so we encourage you to visualize whatever it is as if it's already happened and you're remembering it. Like past tense, you've already got it. Because the brain can't tell what is past and what is future. Look at the images you're creating and think about what you would be feeling in that situation if it had happened, and feel those feelings right now. And every time you think about that situation. So again, if you're looking at a new car, like, see yourself sitting in the car. Like, what does the steering wheel feel like? What does the seat feel like under your butt? Is it a leather seat? Is it a cloth seat?
Mhm.
Like, what do you smell? Is that new car smell? Or do you smell like your favorite car air freshener thing in there? Like, it's like is it everything shiny? Think about all that kind of stuff and how it makes you feel to see that.
Mhm.
What does it look like in your driveway with the sun glinting off of it, or whatever? Like, think about all that kind of stuff and incorporate all that in. Remember not to let the feelings of your current situation cloud the feelings of what you're trying to manifest, because it creates mixed results. So, in other words, even if you look outside and there is physically no car there, don't think about, yeah, there's no car. Don't do that to yourself. Think about, oh my gosh, like that car is out there. It is so beautiful. Look at how it's shining. It's like, I can't wait to go somewhere in it and just be like with the window rolled down and waving to people while I'm driving my brand new car. That's the kind of thing that you want to have. That's the kinds of feelings, visualizations, and experiences you want to live as if you are in that car right now.
Yeah, absolutely, Kai, because really the true essence of manifestation is about the feeling sensation. It's not about the acquisition, because when we go back to, we can't worry about how it's going to arrive. We just know that the universe wants us to embody that feeling and achieve that state of feelingness as we move into that manifestation, whether it is acquiring something or up leveling our skill to raise our status. I wanted to share my final story on how I wanted my art to be featured in a museum gift shop along with other famous artists. After the success of the calligraphy pets, my next step was to continue my dream of expanding my product line to grow my small empire with my art on it. My strategy included additional home decor, wearable accessories, and other products. I also wanted my art to be featured in museum gift shops next to other famous artists and designers. So when we talk about that feeling state, when I would go through, the museum exhibit, and then of course they bring you through the gift shop because you gotta, pay for some tchotchkes and bring this home with you. I would imagine what my art would look like sitting on the counter, right next to the cash register as an impulse buy, or as my prints were sitting over here next to Klimt, right? Or next to Monet or Seurat, right? I would imagine what those would look like and how I would feel walking through that gift shop. Well, here's one manifestation come true. One of the manufacturers with whom I was creating a licensing partnership with had also secured the rights to reproduce Frank Lloyd Wright art onto their products. When they created a catalog, several of my products were included within the same catalog as Frank Lloyd Wright. Frank Lloyd Wright. So here's a tip. You can attempt to manifest multiple things as long as they're complementary. And then also, again, be clear, concise, and consistent. It's not about acquisition. It's about that feeling state.
And to wrap it all up, you've done all of this work and you've got your intention set and all of that. Wrap it all up in gratitude. Otherwise, that expectation becomes entitlement, and then it just really, it spoils it, it sours it all. So you want to be truly, absolutely heartfelt gratitude from it. So yes, you do deserve all of that is good for the best outcome of everything. And humility is really good. It helps you keep a level head about it and places things in the proper perspective. And that way it becomes everybody's benefit, everybody's best outcome. So there we have it. We've got the magic formula revealed for manifestation. These are the steps that work for us. Well, maybe not Kai, but these are the steps.
Oh, so smack. I'm setting back. I'm setting back.
Time, what?
All right. Well, hey, the bottom line is
It's gonna come back on me. We know that.
Everybody has their issues. Everybody has their foibles, right? I mean, every single person has manifested in their own way, in their own time. And so, I mean, I've said earlier that, like I don't manifest well. I mean, I do manifest well. It's just I'm having trouble consciously manifesting, but that doesn't make me unique. Like everybody has issues in different ways. Like, even though Lisa's like really good at manifesting, I'm sure you've not manifested everything you've ever tried, right? Because that's just not how it works. Like we have to put forth the effort, we have to trust the universe, and it will work in time. Like where I am personally at this point, it's just, I guess there's a part of me that's just not ready to do like the major manifesting that I want to do, but I can do small stuff just fine. And
Good.
it's like we all have to look at in manifesting. Like I tell people, here's all the steps, here's the blueprint. Now, can you do them? That's a different story. And you have to look at baby steps. If you like, my biggest issue personally is trust. That's my biggest issue. It always has been. And so, but if other people don't have that issue, then certain things about the process make it considerably easier. So, yeah, like I'm okay with that. It's like, yeah, some stuff doesn't quite work for me the way I think it's going to, but then when it does work, it's always like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. So, yeah. So it's
a
a thing.
recipe.
Yeah.
If you look at it, it's more like a recipe. Here are the ingredients, but if you don't like the way that turned out, then add something else here. So, you do the things about decide what it is you want to manifest and look at those beliefs that may be conflicting with it or those, family legacy thought patterns that are really standing in the way. Then you look at those and you replace them and clear those babies out because they're not serving you.
Mm.
Then you can set your intention using those resonant words like I am, I have, for the best outcome, for the good of all, for my highest and best. You can use all of those feelings and visualizations to make it real in your head, make it real in your brain. When you can, setting up an altar, envisioning every time you look out in that parking lot, that's my car, this is mine, and this is my bank account, or this is me, this is now.
Mhm.
And then when you're ready, and timing is really big, you may not be ready for it. The universe may not have you have all the things in alignment for it. So many variables can be involved when you get other people involved. But when it is for you, you've got to look to see if you are spiritually ready for this, done all of that energy work, and are ready to receive it.
Mhm.
And then you just hand it all over to the universe. And you know that whatever you asked for or better is coming to you.
Mhm.
It's trust. Yeah. You still have to do your part. Like a job's not going to show up if you don't go look at a paper or you don't, we don't look at job listings anymore, not on a paper. So if you don't do your research and get that information and put yourself out there, no, that stuff isn't going to happen. But then trust that it does when you're doing your part and be grateful for everything that comes around because gratitude shifts the energy in such a way that you say, yes, thank you for this. And the universe looks at you and go, oh, you want more of that? Here. And it does. It will give you all that you need, all that you're looking for. So manifestation, it's a practice. Give it a shot. Ah, yeah. Gaia's been invited to come in and put in her 2 cents about manifestation. The file is being uploaded the end of the year, so she will, yeah, she's got it all set up. So just give me a minute. Well, you can take those off. And blessings. Oh, you beloveds. I'm so pleased to be able to speak to you now. So at the time this recording is going up, I understand it's going to be at the end of the year, the beginning of the new one, where everyone starts to set up their intentions for what they're going to do, what they want to accomplish. So this is a perfect time to bring through all of those pieces that you need to make your dreams, to meet your goals. I don't want to say resolutions because not everyone likes to make resolutions, and those have a tendency, at least for now, to be dropped so soon. So, what I ask of you is to truly set that intention to live your best life. And that includes so much. Your best life to come from your heart, to come from Source, to come from Mother Earth, to be a central point, a meeting point of all of those wonderful circumstances and conditions and those things which bring you joy. This is the time to do it. You're going to have a lot of deep work to do, whether it's learning to trust yourself, learning to trust me, learning to trust Source, and then focusing your energy on that which you wish to manifest. You can do it. And being human, you're not going to be able to do it as quickly as you want. And that's all right. You've got to become accustomed to the energy, allow it to acclimate into your own self, into your body, into your mind space. You can do it because I believe in you. I want you to believe in yourself. Blessings, and I love you. Oh, she can't see this. go. We love you.
Today, we've covered manifestation. We hope we've given you the tools you need to start creating your own reality. There's a lot more to talk about, and we're excited to share it all with you in another episode. Meanwhile, consider taking Kai's course on shielding at handsonfire.buzz. Listen to Susy's podcast at bluelightninghealing.com and consider picking up my 2023 digital calendar that includes moon phase planning as well as manifestation at cocreatemagic.com.
Is this your first time joining us, or are you looking for a refresher? Check out our channel for all of the uploaded podcasts we have.
You've been watching the Mystic Mosaic podcast. Hit the like button if you found the episode helpful. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell to be notified when we upload another video. It helps the algorithm to share this episode with people who want to learn more about this topic. Look for a new episode from us every Thursday and join the conversation. Tell us in the comment section what you liked about the episode. If there's a topic you would like us to cover, let us know. Thanks for watching.
Until next time, stay grounded, shielded, and magical.